Yeah, I remember they bought it 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just because of the. That's fair. We have to buy it all.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be the order of nice place fix that.
The United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ray, open us up today.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather here today, we humbly ask for your guidance and wisdom in our discussions. May we listen attentively to one another, speak with respect, and seek your will in all our decisions. Grant us clarity of thought and open hearts as we work together for the common good. We thank you for this opportunity to come together and pray for your blessings upon our meeting. We also pray for our men and women in the armed services and our law enforcement and our first responders. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks.
Commissioner Howard,
Here.
Commissioner Van Alstine,
Here.
Commissioner Scola,
Here.
Commissioner Rubin,
Here.
Commissioner Heffer.
Here, thank you. Anyone wish to make public comment? So.
My 3 minutes is to start trying to get organized. I'm Rob Tyler, president of the Village of Central Lake. I'm here today to be in full support of the updated domestic drain field sewer ordinance. There's been some misinformation that I'm against it or something. I'm 100% in favor of this proposal. I went to the December's meeting in Charlevoix County and expressed the exact same sentiment. So please, there's nothing that I don't like about this whole ordinance. So now, why am I here today? Some background information. 3 years ago, I was alerted to a possible drain field failure in the village of Central Lake. I investigated it, and sure enough, there was a 10 by 10 area, about this size, of raw sewage bubbling up. You could smell it. It hadn't rained for weeks. I called the health department. Casey Clements came out and it did test positive for human fecal coliforms 3 years ago. They sent the resident on January 11th of 2024, health department, a letter stating that it's not working, you have to comply and do so. How do we know? It was hand delivered by the county. Same thing. February 6th of 24, same letter. No reply. Meanwhile, human fecal coliforms are spilling onto the neighbor's driveway, onto their lawn. This isn't a picket fence we're talking about here. We're talking a health crisis. August 8th, this letter sent to the homeowner. No compliance. Then we got serious. Antrim County prosecuting attorney sent the letter. This is a toothless lion. There's got to be a fine associated with this where they will not comply. So the neighbor next door, why is the person that gets to pollute their rights greater than the person next door who can't have their kids go out barefoot because of human feces on their lawn, on their driveway? This is ridiculous that I have to be here today. This is common sense legislation. Now, these aren't 100-acre parcels. These are parcels that are somewhere 50 feet wide. This neighbor, literally, that sewage is there, his driveway's at that wall. Every time we have a rain, it washes on there. There was also talk, I spoke to one commissioner about the appeal process, that, oh, it's lengthy, it's just too arduous. Well, why couldn't this person have appealed on January 11th of 2024, February 6th of 2024, August 8th of 2024, and July 10th of 2024. Is that my 3 minutes?
It is.
All right, just common sense, people. Just straight up common sense. All right, I've got to go, oddly enough, I got to go to a sewer meeting. Thank you all. Again, do the right thing. Come on. All right, people, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, Gipper.
There's color. Anyone else? Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Lori Wood, Custer Township. Nationally, everything is pulsating with conflict and turmoil, and it's overwhelming. Here at home in Antrim County, we are facing two interesting challenges: blind loyalty and lack of integrity. Misdirected loyalty becomes a problem when it stops being a virtue and starts functioning as a substitute for judgment. For too long, powerful political families in Antrim County have dictated their will, and the voters dutifully do what they are told. Crossing an ethical line, personal interests are presented as common good, and people are fearful of speaking up against party lines, and local newspapers are reluctant to ruffle powerful feathers. Who are the powerful and who are they connected to? And what are their priorities besides cutting public services? The same names keep coming up. Excuse me. At a certain point, it becomes consolidation of power. Who is the leadership in Antrim County Republican Party? The address to contact them is the same address of our actual county building. The Antrim County Republican Party chairman is Marv Rubin, relative of Commissioner Jairus Rubin, who are both on multiple boards across the county. So naturally, the second issue is integrity. We hear a lot about integrity in Antrim County, but integrity is not just a campaign slogan. It's a promise of honesty and fairness and ethical consistency. Integrity breaches our failures of character, abuse of trust. And that's exactly what has happened with our county clerk, Victoria Bishop, who willfully and knowingly defied the orders of a federal judge and was held in contempt by court, in addition to possible campaign and finance fraud. She has lost our confidence and trust. She should step down or be placed on administrative leave until the issue is resolved. Powerful family names have held influence long enough, and Antrim County deserves better than self-dealing, partisan public servants. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh.
Gavin Wood, Custer Township. In the quiet cadence of small towns, power rarely announces itself. It settles in gradually. At the township table, on the zoning board, across the library trustees, woven through committees whose names most residents never hear. Over time, a pattern emerges, the same surnames appearing again and again. Decisions circling back to familiar interests and policies shaped in rooms where the outcome feels prearranged. Antrim County has always prized volunteerism, but when public service becomes hereditary, when family members occupy multiple boards simultaneously, governance begins to resemble consolidation. The issue is not participation, it's concentration. Ethical government depends on independence, disclosure, and dependence from personal gain. When ordinances shift in ways that benefit those drafting them, skepticism is not cynicism, it is civic responsibility. Compounding that concern is the troubling conduct of county clerk. Public records indicate she has been cited for inaccuracy reporting campaign donations and was recently held in contempt of court. These are not minor clerical oversights. Transparent accounting is the foundation of election integrity. Compliance with court orders is not optional for citizens, and certainly not those sworn to uphold the law. The county clerk should step down or be placed on administrative leave. Trust in local government is fragile. It does not collapse in a single dramatic scandal. It erodes through exemptions quietly granted to the well-connected and standards unevenly applied. The question before Antrim County is not partisan, it is structural. Are the rules universal or negotiable? Are office public trust or family holdings? Communities endure when power circulates, when oversight is real, when conflicts are disclosed, and when accountability is applied upward as firmly as it does outward. If confidence is to be restored, sunlight must replace loyalty and standards must apply without regard to surname. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great, Village of Central Lake. I'm here to speak out against the public health amendment. I believe it creates a government overreach and can violate the constitutional rights of our the people. And I would like to just say that I would encourage you guys to really look at it closely before making a decision on it. There are other ways we can do things to enforce this, to clean up issues that we have with the, as pertaining to sewer or any other issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, moving on then, please. Can I get
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I would like to ask that we change one thing. And if we really don't have to change the agenda, but be nice if we could have the county forester be moved to like 6A. So he can get this done and he can be on his way. With that being said, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'm sorry.
second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? For motion, we're looking at minutes, February 9th, 2026, any corrections? Corrections, can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please? I'll make the motion, thank you.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Opposed. Committee reports. Jason, Terry, Ray, Sheriff's.
We did have a conservation district meeting, but Mike's here and looking at some budget amendments and some financial issues, so we'll be talking about it more.
Appointments, annual reports, Peyton Hines is
Nope,
with.
we got
Oh,
County forester,
I'm sorry,
6A. 6A right here.
thank you very much, Peyton, bear with me a minute, Mike,
Yes, sir.
thank you. County Forester's annual report.
Thank you for moving me up. I appreciate that. So, my name is Mike Merriweather, for those public that are listening. I'm the forester with the county. I'm here to give you guys a forestry annual report, as you know. So first, I'd like to thank the BOC or the commission here and the county staff for their public service. I appreciate that. I've never had an issue with the employees at the county when I need something, so just wanted to say that. Interestingly enough, I began managing our county forest in 1994. This is my 31st annual report. Maybe my last. So I'm gonna follow Jeremy's outline. That's okay. Jeremy sent us a little outline that we're supposed to follow for our annual report, so try to follow that as best I could. You have the PowerPoint pulled up here?
We didn't get sent to you.
Well, you should have. Anyway. I thought I sent that to you guys. Which is fine. I can add it up, I guess, so.
I'm sorry, well, there's a link on our agenda to it electronically. With that, could you get it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate it. Just either way.
I know we've got the report in front of us, Mike, but obviously I
Okay.
think a lot of folks out here in the audience don't, so it'll be helpful, I think, if it's up on the screen.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you guys want. It's very short.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, Mike,
You go second one, Jeremy. So. Up one. Anyway, there should have been a slide there, but I guess there's not. So generally, the forestry activities for 2025 included some podcasts that I worked on, some private land assistance, county land inventories, management planning, trail maintenance, timber sales, educational tours, and then a Jabara grant. I'm gonna talk a little more in detail about those in a minute. See what's on next. There we go. Now we're online. So some of the annual common things that are done annually as a routine, property line reviews, look for property line encroachment, trash, those types of things. So I visit each property every year. Usage, there's relatively few conflicts on our county forests. Most of those revolve around deer hunting, to be honest with you. Some ORV usage, I guess. Trail maintenance, there's a lot of cleanup. Many of you know, or maybe don't know, that a lot of our county lands are passable by a car or a truck or something. People like to drive around on them, so I try to make sure the 2 tracks are passable on the appropriate properties that people aren't doing a lot of damage to. We still provide firewood permits every year to people in need of firewood. Those generally follow up a timber sale activity where there's tops laying on the ground. And then the private land technical assistance, which is a routine every day. That includes insects and diseases, forest management, tree planting, that sort of thing. So specific accomplishments, again, I talked about a podcast. I attempted to do a bunch of forestry podcasts. They're very time consuming. I'm not quite sure if they're a good use of my time yet. I haven't decided on that. Star Township timber sale is a pending sale. It's a storm damage recovery sale. It's part of a larger area, a larger salvage cut, and that's still pending harvest. It's under contract right now. Lewis Road was a completed timber harvest, 2025. Was a roughly $25,000 timber sale out on Lewis Road. Tree planting is I continue to plant trees out at our Hawk Lake property, and a lot of private landowners request assistance for tree planting. I didn't name them here, but then tree marking. Last year spent a lot of time marking trees, preparing Hawk Lake, Simpson Road, and Valley Road for a timber sale that is actually in progress, started today. Started moving equipment there. I did secure a $50,000 grant from Mr. Jabara. Very familiar with Abdeen. This money will be used on village property, Bel Air Village, county land, and conservation district property. It's probably going to be used to fix the bridges out at the Cedar River Natural Area, the bulk of it. So that was a generous donation from him, saving the county some money. I did some seminars, and then lots of private ownerships. I got 222 site visits. Couple more. Next page, Jeremy, is Dickerson Road Trail. I've scouted and flagged in a trail from Dickerson Road to Mormon Park. And I'm hopefully going to be able to construct that or fix that so you can walk from Mormon Park to Dickerson Road if you so choose. It's a long ways, but we will eventually have just a foot trail there. Incidentally, that was part of the donation Mrs. Dow, I believe, gave us. She wanted a trail through there, so she donated us 10 grand, wanted a walking trail through there. So that's kind of why I'm doing that. And then our inventories of county forests is a large project, which is pretty much completed. So that is looking at the species, the tree diameters, the tree densities on all of our county forests. And that's the data that I use to make decisions on when to cut, what to cut, where to cut. So I went through each property, inventory mapped. It's quite a large project for 2025. Then there's expenditures and revenues. So this is 2024. These are timber sale revenues, by the way. They're 22,000, 33,000 in 2025, and 2026 it should be closer to 80,000. And that's revenues from our cutting of trees. Their program cost in 2025 was $90,000 plus or minus, which we'll be discussing later. And then here's Jeremy's thing, this little performance metric. Well, that's what you had down. So, in my opinion, we underperformed in timber sale revenues in 2025, if you call that a performance metric. Generally, you guys average about $70,000 a year in your timber sales. So there was some reasons why you were generating less money. One of them was the ice storm in April, which flooded the market with timber, so I didn't want to sell timber undervalued into the market. And then some of the sales we work on are lower value sales. So they don't have the tree value that some properties do. So that's kind of gonna fluctuate through time. Then some of the contracts overlap. They take a long time to set up, and then they take a long time to get the contractors to actually accomplish and finish the job and pay us. So it's some of those revenues, if you look back to 2024 or 2023, they overlap from year to year. Let's see, market values. Oh, in 2026, you should see a marked increase in your timber sale revenues. We got some larger jobs that are scheduled this year. And the private landowners contacted me seems to be a little bit lower than average. I think that has a lot to do with the actual internet, and people are able to access more information from that. So lastly, our goals for next year, and I gave you an attachment. I don't know if that's on there or not, Jeremy, but so I gave you guys kind of a project oriented. That's okay, you don't have to pull that up if you want. So these are some of the things for next year is our Hawk Lake pine thinning, which is going on today. Like I said, marking trees, sale contracts, monitoring the harvest. Then we actually gonna do some replanting and a forest management plan. So these are things that happen on these properties. Valley Road, Simpson Road, similar activities on those. This is for next year. So these are, I call them projects. Star Township is under contract. Lewis Road has some maintenance to do there. Incidentally, I don't know if you realize or noticed that on Lewis Road, I kept the performance bond from the harvest because there's some road issues there that I want to deal with this year. It's a multiple ownership of the access site there, so I'll be dealing with that. Dickerson Road I talked about, Cedar River. Gonna help Grass River. Then there's a lot of organizational stuff that I need to get done before I retire. That's all for next year. Any questions?
Any question, right?
Yeah. Mike, I think you're doing a phenomenal job. You're an asset to
Well, thank
Antrim
you.
County. Yeah, thank you so much. Star Township, section 10, where is that located?
You go up through the potato farm there. There's an old dirt road that cuts through the irrigation. You know, where the irrigation-
131.
Sand, I think it's called Sand Hill Road off of 131.
Okay, yeah.
And you go up to the top. Maybe 3-4 miles up into there, and then you have to go
I know you're.
left down a 2-track.
Yeah. I
Go
know
across
where-
Al Lamberson's property and then back into our.
Okay. And then the other question is, I'm not familiar with this, the canopy gap installation, can you kind of explain that?
So yeah, that's part of the forest management. So I'm missing an age class in our forest on Lewis Road. And I wasn't able to get that done during the harvesting of the trees. So there's pockets where I wanna make little openings in the canopy to get new trees to come back.
Okay.
So there are very specific areas where the tree value isn't very good, or there's dying beech or elm or something. So I'm gonna make little holes in the canopy to regenerate some new trees. So that's just a forestry practice that didn't get done the last cut, which is one reason I kept the performance bond too, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike, can you just explain briefly, Antrim County and the Conservation District together, I think we have over 4,000 acres. And just kind of explain how the breakdown of those two and
Yeah, I don't know if I can be real specific without some notes, but the county owns about 5,000 acres. And that would include the airport, Grass River, and Meadowbrook, and then there's probably 3,200 acres of county forest land that we acquired under the Municipal Forest Act back in 1945. So the county at that time went and got tax reverted land for $1 a deed. And over time, it's accumulated to about 3,200 acres. So there's three kinds of land. You've got industrial land, you got natural areas, and you've got these forest land areas. So, and I'm technically responsible for the management of all of them at your request. And more specifically, just the forest land under the Municipal Forest Act is where I spend most of my time. So for example, at the airport, we're gonna do some stuff with them hopefully soon. They just ask me for assistance and I try to help them out. Grass River's the same way. You know, that makes sense?
and
And I do have a bunch of documentation. You need to read my book.
yeah. I've skimmed them.
Okay.
And then I've had folks asking obviously about the conservation district with it being in kind of disarray. And you stepping up to serve as the interim director. Is there anything you want to tell the public about?
Well, that's a complicated issue, but in short, we've had an issue. Conservation district is in conflict with the Conservation Club over some lead in the building. So there is an indoor shooting range in the Conservation Club and the Conservation District shared building. So the building has been tested for lead and there's lead on the floor. So our board elected to move out of the building until that's resolved. So there's some, I don't know, animosity between the two groups, and I'm kind of stuck in the middle trying to resolve the issue. Ideally, we would like to move back into that building. So I think that's where the Conservation District is standing right now. I think the Conservation Club is in favor of that. But they need to do some restoration to make sure that's a building that is free and clear of lead. So, because we have a lot of public people coming in there, we have kids in there, we have people in there. So right now we are temporarily housed in Central Lake. And with the idea that we'll be able to resolve this lead issue, get the building clean bill of health, and be able to resolve our lease issues and move back in there. So yeah, it's problematic for us as an entity. But I think it'll work out.
And then I've had some folks that have asked about your future and looking to retire, and what's your vision of how, I mean, do we have someone that can step in to help manage, and how long do you envision helping us manage? Because it's a lot of acres and a lot of responsibility, and we don't want it to be mismanaged. So just your vision for that.
Well, number one, I'm not gonna walk out the door and say good luck, so I won't do that to you guys. So I think Jeremy and maybe the board could set up some sort of ad hoc committee or something to have those types of discussions on what the transition might look like. There's two options that you have, is you can assume the responsibilities yourself as the county, as for forestry purposes, so you can hire someone to just do county land forest activities, or you can continue with the relationship with the conservation district and come up with a good scenario to deal with that, like we've been doing for 20+ years. So yes, I'm gonna retire, sometime between next September and January, probably. I will try and transition into helping the county continue their management, whether it's me doing it part-time or whether it's hiring someone, so. That's the $1 million question people are asking me, so. I think we need to have discussions with the conservation district, and you guys need to have some conversations.
And then just briefly, can you just touch on the tree sale that's coming up and the trees that are still available for folks to purchase if they're interested in?
Tree sale is April 25th and 26th. You can order trees now online. We still have a lot of trees available. I did pare down the number of species available and actually lowered the cost a little bit of the trees. So yeah, it's going on right now. You have till the end of March here to order trees.
Questions? May I have a motion to accept the Antrim County Foresters 2025?
motion. I second it.
Support. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much for that, Mike. We'll go away. As now we're gonna remove this.
Yeah.
Okay.
All ones.
All right, so now we're at County Forester. Thank you. County Forester, budget amendment. I'm looking for a motion to authorize the finance director to amend the forestry appropriation GL 101-966-959-002 to $84,135.60.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Questions for Mike?
I just think going to the conservation district meetings, I just think maybe Mike just explain a little bit how this has been done in the past and we don't really know why the,
Well, in the past, I would try to have the conservation district contribute to the forestry program, either financially or some other means or whatever. So it was my recommendation, I guess to boil it all down, it was my recommendation to the conservation district board that they have some financial ownership of the forestry program. So when they submitted a budget, the last budget that you guys approved, the county was paying 100% of the cost of the forestry program. And I didn't feel that was appropriate. I think, so I requested them to review that. Jairus had been at some of the meetings and figure out what they can afford to contribute to the forestry program themselves. And the millage plays a factor. We have a operational millage that is supposed to pay some of the costs that are built into the forestry budget. So I basically took those out. There was some other things identified in our budget, invasive species program, that didn't belong in the appropriation budget for the forestry position. That belongs in the forestry budget. You know, if I want to do something on forest land, I would request that separately. So, reviewed the budget and I found out that, we over applied for money or whatever you call it. We over asked for money. I thought the district agreed to offset some of the costs themselves with their own money. So basically, in a nutshell, that's kind of why I'm here and asked you guys to do a budget amendment. I think it was $17,000 less than originally asked for, $17,991 reduction in the appropriation from the county to the conservation district for forestry.
I see that, Mike.
Yeah.
Does anybody come here and ask you for less money?
No.
Okay,
Any other questions?
any other questions for
Any
the
other
budget?
questions, Mike? Any other comments you want to make, Mike?
Nope.
Okay, all right, it's been moved and seconded, all those in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Thank you for your time, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Moving on, thank you for your patience. Move on to Northern Lakes Economic Alliance Annual Report. We're gonna be able to bring that up, Jeremy, as well. Thank you.
We did send a PowerPoint as well as include the longer report in the packet, so two resources there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for your time. We always enjoy having the opportunity to come back to the board and share what we've been working on and what we have planned. So thank you for the time today to do that. As you know, Northern Lakes Economic Alliance serves as your economic development organization for Antrim County, as well as serves 3 other counties in northern Michigan, delivering economic development services to our small businesses and our communities across the region. Slide, please. And once I have a clicker.
No, it's.
Okay. Jeremy, could you hit the slide one more time, please? Thank you. This is our team, serving Antrim County, all with backgrounds in economic development, community development, and data analysis. So all 6 of us, working across the county to support businesses and communities. Slide, please. Just touching on this very briefly, I know I've shared this in the past, but in 2024, we went through a strategic planning process that our board of directors led. And our board of directors consists of representation from Antrim County as well. And these are the 4 strategic priorities that were identified in our strategic plan, which we kicked off in 2025. And carries through the end of 2027. So really focusing on delivering data-driven education to our communities and businesses to help inform their decision-making around economic development, providing direct services to our small businesses to help them continue succeeding and growing in Antrim County, and supporting our communities with priority infrastructure and development needs that exist. And lastly, because workforce shortages continues to be the #1 concern that we're hearing from employers in Antrim County and across the region, having a special focus on supporting initiatives that help to retain and attract additional workforce. Slide, please. In 2025, we were proud to help secure just over 5 million in direct funding to support local projects across Antrim County. And we currently have another 238,000 in direct funding requests that are pending, that we hope are successful to bring those additional resources to local projects. Next slide, please. Some of the projects contributing to those outcomes include our support to Mansalona in pursuing an Eagle Brownfield Phase 1 environmental assessment to assess a former industrial site in their village. Providing direct business support. We were very intentional in 2025 to increase our direct support to small businesses across the county, both helping them to secure additional funding, but also ensure that we're providing them with the data, resources, and information that they need to inform their decisions around talent, around potential expansion in the county, ensuring that they continue to be successful. We successfully secured some additional resources for what's called strategic site readiness, which allowed us to inventory properties across the entire region that may have potential future development opportunities. We continue to deliver support to the Antrim EDC that's ongoing. We always, are happy to support however, it's needed, as different questions come up with a EDC. And as I mentioned, delivering timely data to businesses and communities around economic trends, that's very important to our businesses to inform their decision-making, and to our communities to inform, where they may be investing limited resources into future development. And lastly, also mentioned, we're really adamant about trying to secure additional resources for all of the communities that we support. So in addition to delivering technical assistance and economic development services as a part of our partnership with the county, also being really intentional to bring more resources back to our communities from outside of the region. Next slide, please. Looking into 2026, these are some of the projects we currently have underway and some of the work that we're continuing to do early in 2026. So I'll just mention them briefly. We have our largest event of the year, the Economic Symposium on May 15th at Boyne Mountain. We usually get roughly 300 community and business leaders from across the region in attendance. Always delighted when you can join us for that event. It's a great day, great opportunity to meet with other business and community leaders. And we always do breakout sessions on different priority topics to help deliver an educational component in addition to just the time to network and meet each other. So really hope you can join us for that event. We recently hosted our latest Catalyst conversation in Elk Rapids, highlighting the agricultural sector and providing updates on what's happening with our agricultural businesses in and around Antrim County. And so we had a panel of business leaders representing the agricultural sector speak on some of the issues they're facing and opportunities. And we had a great turnout. Looking forward to hosting more of those kinds of conversations. Also within our education or regional strategy bucket, we launched what we call our Economic Pulse survey and reports. That was in an effort to get more timely information from our businesses and communities across the region about what are their top concerns, how are those concerns changing, what do they see as opportunities for the region. So we did send that survey out last week or the week before. Hopefully you all received it. If you did not receive that link, please let us know so that we can make sure you get that, because we do want to hear from both our local government leaders as well as our business leaders on what the top concerns are, to make sure that we as an organization and as a community are responding to those top concerns. And just quickly, I'll mention, we're always looking to increase our direct business outreach and support. So if you have any businesses that you're aware of in your districts that may be facing a particular challenge or are maybe positioned for strategic growth, if we can in any way support them and be helpful, please do reach out to us. Along the lines of development and infrastructure, I mentioned some of the projects we're working on. That work will continue into 2026. And then lastly, the focus on talent retention and attraction. We worked with a number of businesses across the region, including here in Antrim County, to highlight the career opportunities that they have available at their companies and really shine a spotlight on those job opportunities that we offer in the region. I think oftentimes we are looked at as a community that's only here as a vacation town, but we have so much more to offer and great career opportunities. And so making sure those are well known is important. And I think that was That was my last slide there. We also, as I mentioned, included a more comprehensive report on some of the activities from 2025, as well as an update on economic trends, if you're interested in reading up on that. But I'm more than happy to respond to any questions you may have. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shane.
Thanks, Peyton.
No, cheers.
Yeah. Yeah, I was noticing your report that Antrim County, the percentage of the population that continues to age is continuing to go up. And I know businesses in my district, one of their main challenges is finding employees. And if a third or almost up to half in some areas of your population is retired, then finding employees is pretty difficult.
Absolutely.
And then talking to some younger folks that have bought houses in Antrim County recently. Move up here, they buy a house, becomes uncapped. The amount of taxes is just so high. Whereas someone who's retired, the amount of tax isn't so taxing to them. Because they worked their whole life and they wanted to move up here to join Northern Michigan in their retirement. So I think attracting people who want to work and then finding a way for them to be able to afford to live here is a challenge.
Absolutely, and that is exactly why we are really focused on the sort of challenge around talent and increasing not only our working age population, but also our labor force participation rate, which does tend to trend lower than the state average. So getting more people back to work as well is important. Thank you.
And Peyton, the ag industry conversation that you facilitated over in Elk Rapids was incredibly informative for me. So I really appreciate that. Greg Shooks was there, and Pat Dwyer and the owner of Burnett Foods. Anyways, it was very informative for me. And one of the things I took out of it, I think Jared's kind of alluded to it, is that, you know, housing and staffing, you know, are just massive challenges
Yes.
for our employers. And then the other thing that struck me, Peyton, was how us government leaders have a much more optimistic view of whether or not this is a great place to do business than our actual employers.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. So I appreciate you putting that on.
Thank you for being there and those words. It's helpful to hear. You know, we want those to be informative, and I'm glad we succeeded at it. And the information that you just referenced about the sentiment from businesses about the business climate versus what local government leaders, how they view our areas of the success of the business climate, that comes directly from those surveys that I mentioned. So it really is important to get that feedback from you and our business leaders across the county. But thank you very much.
Yes. Can I get a motion then to accept Northern Lakes Economic Alliance?
I need that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? I'll support it. Second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you again.
Thanks,
We
Peyton.
appreciate it. Good. Health Department Northwest Michigan with Jeremy and Shannon are with us this morning. Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Too many papers in my stack up here. My name is Shannon Konowski. I'm the health officer for the Health Department of Northwest Michigan. I have with me Jeremy Fruit today. He's our environmental health director. We are here this morning to talk about the district sanitary code amendments that are currently proposed. I just want to be very clear and transparent. And I also want to make a quick point that we are not looking for a vote today. We are not looking for action. We are only here to answer questions It seems that there are a few misconceptions floating around out there, maybe some rumors. And we wanted to come today to, let you ask us questions, make sure that everybody understands exactly what's being proposed. That I did circulate kind of a Q&A for some of the most popular questions that we keep hearing again and again. So I want to just take a moment to kind of give the background of how we got here, why we're asking for this, and then maybe touch on a few of those questions, and then we'll certainly open the floor for more. I don't want to take too much time. I want to be respectful of your time today. So why are we here asking for these amendments? We kind of started this process over a year ago, Jerry. I think it's been over a year now. And we were looking at, there's been a few cases in the last few years, and it's not just in Antrim County, although I think you heard in public comment about one particular situation. But we've heard it from a couple of counties, and there's been people that are just, for whatever reason, not willing to fix broken septic systems and follow the district sanitary code. If you're not familiar with our district sanitary code, I know you all are, but just for those watching, we have a district sanitary code that covers the 4 counties that we serve at the health department. It's Charlevoix, Antrim, Emmett, and Otsego counties. And this district sanitary code, we are one of the only states in the US that does not have a statewide district sanitary code. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. In the UP, the ground is very rocky, so that's very different than here. We're kind of along the coast of Lake Michigan. We have a lot of sandy soil that filters very well. If you go downstate in southeast Michigan, there's a lot of clay, which does not filter as well. So it makes sense that we do not all have the exact same rules. I will say that our forefathers were very good when they wrote this code, and it's actually a very effective code, and it's preserved our waters and our lakes and our streams. And I think we can all agree that that's important to us. So how we got here, we've had, like I said, we've had a few cases where we've had a lot of pushback, people, not so much pushback, but people just aren't willing to make those changes. And so we've talked with the county prosecutors and we've heard them. The Antrim County prosecutor actually suggested that we amend the enforcement section language because he didn't feel that he had the authority to move forward. However, I'm going to say that the current district sanitary code has to be in alignment with the state public health code. The enforcement language in the state public health code provides that authority. But in our district sanitary code here for our 4 counties, we never actually cited that code. We talked about it. We referenced kind of the same ideas, but we never actually say per MCL 333.2443. And for that reason, the county prosecutor felt like it needed to be referenced and actually stated in our enforcement section. So that's why we're here. We brought these proposed changes to, we talked to the county prosecutor. Antrim County said, you know what, look at Benzie-Leland's code because they actually have great language. So we took Benzie-Leland's code and we adopted that enforcement section to fall in line with our code. After we did that, we sent it out to the county prosecutors, asked for feedback. After we got all of that together, we actually brought those proposed amendments to our Board of Health. And our Board of Health, which is our governing body, is made up of 2 county commissioners from each of the counties we serve. From Antrim County, our Board of Health commissioners are Commissioner Van Alstyne and Commissioner Helwig. So the board voted unanimously to bring that forward to the counties now for their consideration. So at this point, we will at some point be coming back to you, asking you to bring it forward for a vote. And it takes all 4 counties to be in agreement. If it's an all or nothing. So if one of the counties says, no, we don't want this, the whole thing will fail. So just to let you know kind of where we are. So that's the process. We've been working on this. If it is approved by all 4 counties, then the changes become effective 45 days later. So that would be kind of the very last step in this process. Like I said, we started this quite a while ago. Let me make sure I've got all of the questions answered on my sheet that I have given out. What's the goal of the update? The goal is to reference the current the state public health code laws citing MCL 333.2443. There's been a question about authority, and I want to address that question. The current the current district sanitary code gives the health officer authority to inspect a property if there is a problem such as, that's related to our district sanitary code. So you're talking a well, a septic, something like that. And the language actually straight from the Michigan Public Health Code says that the health officer has the authority to make an investigation in any matter, thing, premise, place, person, record, vehicle, incident, or event. And they have to have consent from the landowner. And I think this was a misconception because it's one of the very first sentences in the proposed changes, but we're actually just quoting the Michigan Public Health Code. And that language is already in our district sanitary code. So regardless of whether this change is made or not, that authority already exists and we're not changing that. That's already there. To be clear, if the landowner, I can't just waltz onto somebody's property and say, I want to do an inspection. First of all, I have to have a reason that's related to the district sanitary code. Secondly, I have to have the permission. And if I go up to somebody's door and I say, I'd like to do an inspection, we have a concern that we'd like to investigate, and they say, no, there's nothing I can do. I turn around, walk away. I can go apply for a warrant from the sheriff's office. But again, I still have to have a reason. I can't just go waltzing onto people's properties. And I think that was the misconception that's been rumored out there, is that the health officer is asking for more authority and wants to just be able to go wherever I want, whenever I feel like it. And that's not how this works. Let me see, what if all, oh, I already talked about the all 4 counties don't agree to the changes. The other question is, what if the county prosecutor does not want to take the case? Well, that's the county prosecutor's right, and they always retain that right. They don't have to take the case just because we ask them to. And we recognize that they have a caseload, they're busy, and we don't want to burden them with more work. So we can probably count on one hand the number of times that we've gotten to this point in the process. So we're not looking to add to it, but there are times when we could really use their help if they are willing to help us with it. I've had a question as well, the proposed language seems very vague. This language is actually being more specific. We are quoting the state public health code, and we are specifically citing these sections of the state public health code. So it's actually more specific. Our current code is very paraphrased from the current public health code, and we are actually citing the MCLs. Another question we've received is the health department writing law? Absolutely not. That is not our place. That is for your state legislators. They're the ones that write the state public health code. If you want that changed, you gotta go talk to them. I certainly do not have authority to write law. That's not our place. Let's see, we've also had questions about why is section 12.7, the issuance of a civil citation, so specific? Is this new? And the answer is no. This is the current process. We're just describing it. In the past, if someone did not agree with a decision that we've made, there's a process that they can go through to have it looked at again. And it's the current process. We've never actually clarified it in our district sanitary code. So if somebody gets an answer from us that they don't like, their first question back to us is, well, what do I do now? And I think it's only fair that we put in the code what the steps are and we're transparent so that they know what their options are. So the current process, and again, we're just clarifying it in our amendments, is that they can petition. So let's say a sanitarian goes out, they say, nope, this is not in compliance, and they disagree. They can bring it to the health officer, and the health officer can either say, you're correct, it is not, or we can say, no, we agree with the sanitarian. At that point, if they disagree, the landowner still disagrees with the health officer's decision, they can proceed to the next step, and they can petition the Board of Appeals within 60 days. You all in Antrim County sit on the Board of Appeals, and I know you're very familiar with that. So that's the next step in the process, and the Board of Appeals can review it and they can decide. The last step is if they still don't like the Board of Appeals decision, then they can petition to review in the circuit court of the county where the property or premise is located. So that's the current process. We're not changing it. We're just clarifying it so that everybody knows and doesn't have to keep asking, well, what's the next step? There's another question, does section 12.5 civil fines or penalty add new or additional fines? The answer is no. Again, we are quoting MCL 333.2443, which already dictates the fines and the penalties. So we're just being consistent with the current state public health code and putting that into our enforcement section because it's not clearly stated. Again, paraphrased, referenced, not written completely. And then I think the last question that we asked is, will the health department be upset if this does not pass? We've certainly put a lot of time and effort bringing these updates forward to provide clarity and working with the county prosecutors. We could continue the way that it's written, but if there comes a specific case where we need help from the county prosecutor, that might be a barrier. So, if you have questions about any of the MCLs, I did put those at the bottom of the Q&A that I sent out, and you can reference those, or obviously you can Google it. It's out there. It's not a secret. So at this point, Jeremy, did I miss anything?
No, I think you did a good job.
Excellent. All right, we're happy to answer questions that anybody may have.
Questions for Shannon over here? Cheers.
Yeah, I've had some comments about this being kind of egregious. If you read this. To ensure compliance with this code, the health officer may inspect, investigate, or authorize an inspection or investigation to be made of any matter, anything, any premise, any place, any person, any record, any vehicle, any incident, or any event where a health officer has reason to believe that non-compliance with the laws enforced by the health department exists. The health officer may seek administrative warrants, search warrants, or court orders for access to the person, real property, or the personal property to be inspected or investigated. This right to inspect shall include the right to obtain samples where a health officer has reason to believe that there is a likelihood of contamination of surface water, groundwater, water supply, or any other unsanitary conditions. Just reading that on its face value, I'm not sure that there's anything that the health officer couldn't investigate or sample if they decided they wanted to. And you say it's already in the state code. If we have an egregious thing, then if you take our current sanitary code and you go to page 18, Article 4, sewage treatment and disposal, Section 4, paragraph 1. It shall be unlawful for any person to construct or alter any premise which is not equipped with a sewage treatment and disposal system that complies with this code, unless granted approval by the health officer. It is also unlawful for any person to occupy or maintain a premise that has a failed sewage treatment and disposal system. So we've got 3.5 pages of new proposed language here to make it so that the health department can do just about whatever they want. And in our current sanitary code, it's already illegal, and we already have laws on the books to address failed sewage treatment systems and disposal systems.
Is there a question?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just comment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the language, let's say 12.2 with enforcement, I'm not okay with that language. I'll say this, so, Prosecutor Bill Brock was kind enough to email me the Leelanau sanitary, district sanitary code. And so I went over it, and that paragraph was not in their code. Central Lake, the issue, well, really the issue that we're kind of talking about, I talked to law enforcement yesterday, and they were at the resident for an unrelated reason. What troubles me is they did their due diligence, their duty, called CPS, and nothing happened. I guess my problem is, and I don't know the answer to this, but this premise that we're talking about, it sounds like that it should nobody should be living in that environment. It's an unsafe environment, I don't understand that, and I look at this, our sanitary code, district sanitary code, it's 49 pages, it's pretty long. And if we can't, um, the vast majority of people, all in our county, are, they do what they're supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? We normally don't have any issues like this. This is an extreme issue. There's more reasons, obviously, for that, that I will get here to explain, but I think to myself, if 49 pages isn't good enough to enforce this issue, I'm not even sure why we even have a district sanitary code, that's my feeling, but the first paragraph, I don't care for it at all, I really don't. Do I have concern right now with our current, health department of Northwest Health Department? I don't, but at some point, you're not gonna be there, you know what I'm saying? And this has gotta outlive all of us, you know what I'm saying? So, for that reason, I can't support it at this point. I think changes need to be made. Because this is this is an egregious violation that's been going on, you know what I'm saying? And my thing is, I don't know what kind of language, I'm not an attorney, but there is enough of a track record that this resident has not been in compliance, is not compliant, and will not probably comply. If there's some language about that and enforcing that, I'm all ears on that. But the way, this is just too broad, and most people, I'm not an attorney, most people read that and they're like, wow, this is, it's kind of crazy. They just disagree with that. Yeah, okay.
To answer a couple of them questions, help me if I'm wrong, but we're talking about less than 1% of the people that, like you said, that have an issue with that. Most people, you go to them and say, your septic tank's failing, you need to do something. What do? They fix it. This is that less than 1%. Screw up, I'm not gonna do anything. There's no teeth to make them do that. That's what the health department has done with this, is trying to give it some teeth. They actually go to the person and say, you need to fix it. Can the health officer go onto the property without authorization? Absolutely not. The only people that can do that are the DNR. Even the sheriff, if the sheriff can go in, probable cause, but the health officer, the building department, all them could. We gotta have. So as far as it being something that's they can just do whatever they want, no, that's not the case at all. We spent tons of hours on this, and that was a big question that we had in the health board, is does this give you the right to go on whenever you want? And that answer is no. An attorney wrote this, drafted it, got it cleared up with the state health code, so I don't see any issues with that. This one thing, someday it will actually fix and be gone. And it probably won't come up again for 20 years, but until it does, we don't have anything that helps us with that. Right now, it's, well, you don't have to fix it here, we're gonna slap your hand, that's all.
Throw the letter away, that's what's happening.
Yeah, so that's all I got.
Thanks.
Am I pretty close?
You're spot on, thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, you have enough to do. You're not gonna be going out there looking for things to do like this broad. That's not what this is for. This is to give teeth to the ones that are breaking the law. You're not looking, we're not gonna be the Gestapo, go onto the property looking for something.
No, absolutely.
Even if somebody said, hey, this guy's doing this, or you have suspicion, you still have to get a search warrant, and the police officer tell you pee up a rope if it's not right, correct?
Correct.
And then the prosecutor still has to okay with everything. So, I keep getting these emails about, your constitutional rights. Wait till the next one that's in legislation right now in Michigan comes out. You're gonna be real unhappy what they're gonna let people do. Okay, the health department do. All right, this is not, this is cut dry, so we can actually get things done in our county. You want beautiful lakes and water? When that washes down into Central Lake there, to the whatever lake intermediate. You're not gonna have, you're gonna have algae blowing with everybody's crap down there. Okay, and what you gotta understand is we're not looking to cause trouble. We're trying to fix something, is all we're doing. They're not overstepping. They're not looking for more things to do. They don't have enough time in the day to do what they have to do right now. So if you think we're going to. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry I interrupted it. I just wanted to let you know too, is this isn't. The reason why I changed it wasn't specifically for this incident in Central Lake. It's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. So it's not like singling anybody out. It was just like, you know what, I had great advice from a prosecutor and I was like, just gonna use common sense here and just change it right away and see if we could make it better, make it easier for us to enforce some of these issues that occur. But, and like Shannon said, this is like a 1% thing. I mean, I probably get one case a year, if that. So.
What drives me crazy is we try to politicize everything. This is common sense, not political. This is something that everybody, we have all these lake associations, okay? This is what it's trying to help, okay? Otherwise, you're gonna have somebody pouring sewage right into Torch Lake. It's, because we have to have teeth and it's not overstepping the bounds. If you read it at face value, you can pick here and there, you can pick anything out and snip it, put it on a piece of paper and say, this is what that's saying. Well, if you put them out of order or you put them you have to know what you're reading. Not, pick and choose and then think that tells the whole story. It doesn't, okay? How many citizens do we have in the county? Looks like 23,431 last time somebody looked. Okay, and when you got 2 emails out of that whole thing. There we go.
Go ahead, Sheriff.
It sounds like he thinks this inspections and investigations makes him feel all warm and fuzzy, but it doesn't me. And it doesn't a lot of our taxpayers. Don't forget, it wasn't very long ago where we had a health officer who closed our businesses, shuttered our schools and masked our kids.
That's nothing to do with this.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It was just the health.
Again, we're politicizing something that is not political, okay? I'm not done. It just pisses me off when we politicize things. This is people doing their job and trying to do their job, and we're blocking people that we hire that I consider experts, because you don't know what the hell sanitary code is, neither do I. But we need to give them teeth to be able to do their job. We're not experts. I'm on the health board. We listen to experts. They make recommendations. I bring it here, okay? And to me, just being Jason Helwig, how many times I've been reelected, I live on common sense. Okay? Plain and simple. You can point fingers, you can be pointed and think I'm all warm and fuzzy with inspections. There's no damn inspections gonna happen. Okay? None, unless there's an issue. All right? And you can smile and think you did get under my skin. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it's ridiculous.
If
Can
I
we move on?
Yes, we can.
I just wanted to make one last comment. We've talked about a particular case in Antrim County, but that's not the only one that we have in Antrim County, if I'm being honest. There's another one where you all, as the Board of Appeals, made a decision. And that individual has already been trying every which way to get out of having to do what's right and what's being asked of them. In fact, they've cold called me, because this started long before I was the health officer. They cold called me and said, can you reverse the decision? I said, absolutely not. I said that I cannot do that. I don't have that authority. The Board of Appeals made their decision. We're past that point now. So just to let you, I don't want to make it seem like we're just picking on one particular case, because it's not the only one. So thank you.
I actually have a question, Shannon.
Oh, sure.
Um. Charis mentioned in some of his comments, that I think Jason as well. Can you explain to me, Charis has indicated or suggested that the code currently allows us to enforce things. And obviously, some legal officials don't think so. Can you help explain that to me?
Sure.
What our current problem is and why? Yes, I'll stop.
Yeah, sure. I'll give the high level and I'm gonna let Jeremy give you the technical side because he's much better with that. If I look at our code now and it's section 12, there's a very short, let's see, it's one page really. Yeah, it's just one little page with 4 little sections. And there's really only one paragraph and it doesn't talk about all of the things that are in the statewide public health code. Again, we just kind of reference it and we say, well, a violation of this code shall be a municipal civil infraction as provided by MCL 600, which isn't even the part we're looking at. And it briefly touches on that, but it doesn't really talk about any of the other options, things that are there in the public health code. So by us not actually referencing the public health code that already exists and is already in place for the whole state, the county prosecutors just didn't feel like because you didn't say that part of the code, they didn't have enough to go on. So that's really what we're trying to shore up, is we're trying to say, here's what's already written in the public health code. We're gonna reference it in our district sanitary code that covers our 4 counties and true them up so that they're the same and they're, consistent. So, Jeremy, did I leave that?
No, is there any follow-up that you needed on that?
Only, I guess my question is, if we simply referenced MCL 3332443,
Yeah.
if we simply added that. This
It just said per MCL. I mean, we could have done it that way.
So, okay, I appreciate answering that question, but and my comment, it's a very short comment here is, honestly, whenever I see any, we're removing 2 paragraphs and adding 11. And that's what gave me reason for pause when I appreciate what you're trying to do. I really do. And I don't think there's any nefarious intent. And you're trying to fix a problem that we've had since December 20th of 2023. And this has gone on for a long time. And
I think to your point, in all fairness, we turn this over to the attorneys and we say, okay, help us draft this so it covers all the bases. Well, you know how the attorneys are, they get a hold of it and they put lots of pretty language in it. And we were dealing with county prosecutors who are used to reading that language day in and day out. So to us, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is what we need to have. Perhaps hindsight's 2020, maybe we should have just said per MCL 300.2443 and just left it at that. But again, trying to cover all the bases so that if there was an issue, the prosecutor would feel like they had the authority to move forward. It's a fair.
no, fair enough. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here this morning. You guys taking the time. Is there any other, Jairus?
Yep. Yeah, I think 49 pages and section 4 is obviously lists that it's illegal for them to maintain that. If a prosecutor wanted to enforce this, they have the authority to do so. I really believe that if any prosecutor was to enforce this, they would reference 333.233, like you already mentioned. It's already here. I've been a commissioner for over 5 years, and I've sat on 5 different sanitary appeals cases. And 5 times I have voted with the health department because they followed the guidelines and it was laid out and they went with what was written. And your sanitarians in those meetings have pointed out that their goal is to make it easier for people to build houses and septic systems, not to make it more stringent. This proposed language sends the complete opposite message of that. And it just makes it look like it's egregious and that the health officer can get anybody for anything.
Well, again, I can't do that. And lastly, we did talk to four county, or county prosecutors, I'm sorry. We talked to four county prosecutors and got their feedback, and we tried to incorporate it all into the changes. So again, could it have been a lot shorter? Probably. But here we are, so.
Yes.
Yeah, so just kind of reflect on Jerris's comment. I think it's way too long, number one. Number two, and 12.3, or currently where it says violations of civil infraction. I mean, if the code was changed to the misdemeanor, which is MCL 333.2443, I just think less is more. I mean, we obviously, there's a problem, it needs to be addressed. And so to be more specific about it and not, I mean, I know you said it's. Cause I went through this whole thing, compared it to Wheel and all, it's pretty similar, there's differences, there's no doubt, there's some wording differences, there's. FCL differences, fine differences and stuff like that, of my fines. So I just think right now, when we look at. The additional pages of it, I mean, it doesn't have to be this long. That's all I'm getting at. And I really would appreciate if it is more specific to, what the problem really is, the enforcement for the problem. And so it's too long, it's too vague. The first paragraph is way too vague. And I would just appreciate it if somehow, some way, it just got smaller, but for the continued violation of 12.3, change that to a misdemeanor with the MCL, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? But as is right now, I can't support it right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Any last, thank you, everyone. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, we have, Moran Real Point here with us. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for your patience.
We're having some. Believe I can just share my screen and it should pop up. Love that this is live. I can see if it actually is working for everyone watching, for everyone else who dies. Thank you. We still morning? Yeah, good morning.
Yeah.
My name is Andy Fountain. I'm with Plant Brand Real Point. Sure. First and foremost, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve Antrim County with this engagement. We're very thankful for the opportunity. Thank you for the cooperation. I'd like to really lend some thanks to Jeremy and Janet, the rest of the Antrim County team. They've been very helpful throughout this process, making sure that we get timely information and get participation from the Antrim team. So I do want to thank them and everybody else for their assistance with this engagement. Just a couple of quick things I wanted to hit on before we kind of jump in here. We have this is a presentation of a much larger deliverable that was sent to the county. So the deliverable was approximately 120 plus pages. This is intended to be a condensed version and a little bit more concise for a presentation today. We're happy to provide you hard copies of presentation, the report, if you so desire. So just want to make sure that we offer that to you as well. Without further ado, I'll jump into the presentation here. To the next page here. Page down. There we go.
That's us.
This is us. I'll let Todd introduce himself here in a second. But I'm Andy Fountain, again, principal with Plant Brand Real Point. I run the government practice for the firm. So anything federal, state, local usually runs through me in some way, shape or form. We have an agenda here for you today. We'll cover the background of why we're here and what the intended purpose of the study looks like. We have some information about the conceptual design review, the budget and the schedule, which I'll let Todd walk you through. Just by way of information, we were engaged in November of 25 by the county to conduct a consulting exercise related to the Public Safety Center. We were tasked with reviewing all the relevant information and documentation for the PSC, just to get a baseline understanding of the program. And then out of that, we've reviewed the information with county, also with some other professional service groups that the county has engaged, most notably Avonmarsh. And we took a look at that information and did some analysis. We held multiple interviews with members of the county. And the findings that that we're going to discuss here today are the results of our analysis, the information that was provided, the interviews, and then some refinement to go through a sort of a vetting and validation of our understanding of the information that was provided. Just to set this off, we understand that the current allotted budget for this project for the Public Safety Center is $27 million. Without further ado, I'm going to let Todd introduce himself and walk you through the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you again for having us here today. And I again want to express my thanks to Mr. Scott and Ms. O. The timely exchange of information was absolutely critical for us to be able to turn over this report in 4 months, and that's including pretty lengthy holiday season as well. So again, thank you to the Antrim team. We did provide a preliminary findings report that we presented to Mr. Scott's team, and actually refined some of our numbers based on some of the information that we had received from them. That the opinion of probable costs that we're basing this on from Avonmarsh, it was dated April 2025. I know that they have been retained as, I believe, the architect of record in there to refine their numbers.
Todd, pardon me for interrupting you. You can move that microphone, or you're a soft-spoken guy. I want to make sure everybody can hear you.
I could be loud spoken.
Thank you very much.
Trying to be cordial, although I think I just turned the mic off. Hang on 1 second. There. So we're going to go first with some conceptual design review, knowing that, this design will probably change. At least in our professional opinion, it will likely change as we move forward through the design process. And we have brought Dr. Donald Ambler, who's a very well-renowned corrections expert, to take a look at this space. He's serving as a special advisor to the County Executive Mark Hatton McComb on their new central intake and assessment center that they're building. Again, I think kudos to everybody in the room that when we had asked, what are the priorities for this program, other than what the bond language actually stipulates, is a priority to try to focus more on diversion and mental health substance use disorder treatment, rather than just lock them up and throw away the keys, which is really, that 1920s, 30s, 40s, methodology for corrections. And going through the program that we saw that was created last year by Avonmarsh, if it is Dr. Amber's opinion and as a correctional trend, I would say many experts, that your aim is to create a normalized healing jail environment that minimizes stressors to inmates and correctional staff as well. And there is a part in our report that let's mention that there are many correctional officers that are in that building more than actual inmates themselves. And so you really have to look holistically as to who is in the jail, both temporarily and who's there in employment. The lobby plaza design that we reviewed feels accessible, welcoming, humane to the public. The jail appearance itself is non-hostile and getting away from that Alcatraz type institutional feeling. And we would encourage, as design progresses, abundant natural light, calming colors, reduced noise level, again, to try to build a secure therapeutic environment for people in the building. Positive observations that we have identified so far. Intake release booking area, you're there at the very beginning, and it's designed to initially classify inmates as acute, subacute, or mental health substance abuse disorders, assault, non-assaultive. You're really starting to segregate, you know, what sort of population there is for mental health substance abuse versus, you know, violent, you know, offenders. Dual Sally Point port doors were included to control access to secure detention areas. A very important, juveniles are separated by sight and sound from the adult inmates in the facility. There's provision for a tablet non-contact visiting for convenience and cost savings. And a direct supervision model for all housing units. When looking at the administrative functions of the buildings, our determination was the sheriff's office administration portion was reasonable in size and scale. And again, we took note that space has been created to decompress and recharge correctional, clinical staff, and law enforcement personnel. Those employees that are keeping that building operational 24/7. Opportunities to consider as the current space program evolves. It is our belief that the focus on mental health and substance abuse diversion requires that probably would want more space dedicated to mental and medical health in the building. 2 padded cells are observable for inmates who pose a threat to themselves or others. Relocation of other direct observation cells in the inmate property storage room should be considered for greater efficiency. We're already starting to provide a sneak preview of ways that you may be able to bring this program a little bit into alignment from where we see this as budgetarily, and there may be functions of this building that may be best suited in other Antrim County facilities. We would consider consideration for reducing the number of all 2-person cells to some single-person cells for assaulted persons, pregnant women, psychotic or catatonic inmates. Again, more natural light where possible and feasible in the building. Direct sightline observation of inmates in the building that are deemed to be suicidal, overdosing from alcohol and or narcotics, suffering from depression or other mental illnesses. And then another recommendation for how we may be able to bring the project better into alignment is secure general evidence storage. May be best suited in an alternative location other than the building, so that you can bring this back into budgetary alignment. And this is really going to be the focus of a lot of our findings to date on this project. So again, we were looking at Abbenmarsh's opinion of probable cost from April 2025. That was based on an architectural space program from February of last year that reduced the initial square footage from 38,000 square feet to 28,528 square feet. Our review does not contemplate renovations or demolitions of the existing jail. It's assuming construction of a 56-bed jail, probation, sheriff's administration office, emergency operations center, and emergency management administration, and 9/11 dispatch spaces. And that is really driven by the bond language that voters in Antrim County passed for you to have the ability to bond for $18 million cost. Also excludes property acquisition. The assumption is it's being constructed on municipal center property, north and east of the existing jail. And it assumes the vacancy of Grove Street by the village of Bel Air, which we do believe there are costs associated with it, being administrative and legal, which we provided projections on today. Looking at that Abbenmarsh opinion of probable cost, there were items that were excluded that we placed into our opinion of probable cost, and namely those in terms of professional services, our technology and security consulting design. It's our understanding from talking to Mr. Scott that the county is going to look at trying to do a lot of those functions in-house. We did provide a budget for it because this is a highly specialized public safety facility. And technology really is one of those items of paramount importance. You cannot afford to have technology fail in a facility like this. Material testing services, environmental assessments, although I know phase 1 is now underway. It may have been completed when we went to publish this report. But any phase 2 work that may be required should phase 1 warrant that. Building system commissioning services, and then owner's representation and project management services. Also excluded from the opinion of probable cost or any environmental remediation. Regulatory fees, that's plan reviews, permitting fees. Having come from the public sector myself, I thought, well, we can just waive all those, right? And that's really a policy decision that every elected board makes on their own. Moving and relocation services, and then again, the demolition of the existing jail, and vacating, Grove Street. The items that we found that were not sufficiently budgeted for this program, again, technology and security systems. We put a placeholder in there, understanding again, where the county's thoughts are at this point, but we would highly encourage bringing on a specialized technology consultant for this project. Not only to advise on the technologies needed there, but then prepare the necessary documents to actually bid and then install that work as well. Furniture, fixtures and equipment, I believe the county is looking to repurpose and reuse as much furniture as possible. That may work for common, office type areas. You never know until you're in the building, but definitely there are some very significant costs related to kitchen equipment, accessories and small areas in a new jail. Laundry and property storage equipment, medical equipment. And then we did not find any placeholders for signage in the building.
Just the detention, one thing we should make mention is that we found other engagements that the detention furnishings can be rather costly. And while they may be, maybe there is some information here, we felt like it was worth noting that further consideration for detention furnishings should be considered. So I just want to make sure I said that.
I'm find that. And then these following items, in reviewing Abin Marsh's opinion, probable cost, we thought were not sufficiently budgeted for this capital program. That is generally site work, parking and utilities, pre-construction services, builder's risk policies, and most especially contingencies, where there was a very little amount actually identified by Abin Marsh for the project. We've outlined the construction contingency, design and bidding contingency, which is required under their contract. Appropriate amounts that we would attribute to a project of this size and scope. So the ultimate conclusion that we have reached on this is we believe that the cost of the program as we reviewed it from last year is approximately $32.7 million. That's an overage of approximately $7.6 million when compared to the mean Abin Marsh budget of 25.1. That was back in April 2025. We did take a look at a document they provided in December of last year, and those numbers have gone up by $2 million. And we would agree that we can probably continue to see those escalate to about the $32 million point. That's an overage of approximately $5.7 million when compared to the budget that Mr. Scott had provided to us of $27 million. So we do believe that there are scope cuts or downsizing that does need to be made. Short of utilizing additional funding for the program, to get closer to 32. So,
Which is not an option.
we were very aware of Mr. Scott that 27 was the ceiling, and you can get your head on it as much as you want, and only you are going to be bruised.
Fair. I couldn't have put it in.
Resistance is futile. We understand that, and that's why we understand that more likely than not, it's going to be reductions in scope, size of the building to bring it back in within that $27 million. So in looking at the schedule review, because we understand that's an exercise, and that's an exercise that will probably take more than a few months. Abin Marsh's project schedules is a bit aggressive, and in our opinion, probably not realizable. Especially when we're undergoing, and these are very public projects, reductions in scope for programming. When we're overseeing projects like this, we generally have a governance model for the commissioners or city council in terms of what role are you playing in here? Who is authorizing those scope reductions or the reduction in program size? And so we anticipate a longer schematic design process so that the Board of Commissioners has an opportunity to weigh in on what some of those changes would be. And with that, we did provide a revised schedule. If we were overseeing the program, quite frankly, that anticipates a reconciled scope budget, in early 2027 and late 2026. And with a construction duration of 15 to 16 months, we would look at the county being able to occupy the new facility by mid 2028. So with that, I know that's, again, this is a very brief summary of a much longer document. But we're here to answer any questions you may have either today or sure, say rise. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Their program they put together is very thorough. It was good reading. Long, but good reading.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Jeff?
Yeah. You talked about it some, the space that, would be utilized for mental health and diversion. Our prosecutor has, something on our agenda later today that's talking about diversion, alternative sentencing, deferred prosecution programs, the benefits of diversion programs, alternative sentencing options. 95% of the people that are in our jail are going to be out of our jail in a short period of time. So in light of that, whatever treatment, mental health, I serve on the North Country Community Mental Health Board, and you know, trying to help people recover from stress and anxiety and that type of thing. Sometimes when people are under those types of stresses, they commit crimes, and if we can help them to recover. So I guess just a little bit of background, but my question is, looking at Michigan's judicial system and design of our new jail, I wonder if the amount of space that we have dedicated is enough for those who have those types of trouble, and what your thought is on that.
I think it's absolutely a question and policy to consider, especially when you're looking at operational. You know, we've seen the 56-bed facility doesn't need to be 56 beds, and then when you start looking into other programs and you know, alternative sentencing, those are all very interesting policy decisions that lead to an operational decision. I think all of those need to be weighed as you're looking at a revised schematic design schedule for the program to make sure that it's aligned. I mean, what you are saying are policy decisions, and it sounds like the prosecutor is making certain policy decisions, and you want to make sure that those are translated into the actual operation of this new facility. And you don't get many opportunities to build these twice. And so this is the future, this is the trend that you're moving into. Try to take any and all opportunity to get their opinion on what this facility will look like, and then work with Mr. Scott and the architects to make that translation.
Great.
Just in the spirit of transparency, if this board were to hire Plant Moran River Point as our owner's rep, can you share what the cost is for that service?
I think that's flexible, and I'll let the principal of our government practice.
I can take that.
Fine on that.
In effort of transparency, we have had some iteration and regarding that discussion. It's really driven, and I don't mean to evade the question, it really is driven by the scope of services that you'd like us to provide. So I think at some point we talked about the Cadillac program, which is anything and everything that you're gonna need to facilitate this process. There's also several other variations of what the Cadillac looks like. And there's lots of flexibility around, what I would say is maybe not even a holistic approach, meaning maybe it's not start to finish, but it's help us get through this calibration, help us wrap up the design and get under contract, and then we can step away. So I don't mean to be evasive. I just want to be clear that it really is driven off of the ask that you make. I think that we provided you some information. I think it could vary anywhere from, I think we talked about like 600,000 for the Cadillac, I believe. And there's variations that can go down to, you know, significantly less, roughly half of that. And then furthermore, I would offer that, there is language in the contracts that we execute with our clients that if you're not happy with our services, you feel like you're not getting the value, you have termination for convenience clause in every contract that we sign. If you give me 30 days notice, you can let us go. So instead of looking at it like, hey, there's a $100,000 contract on the table, you can look at it as it's month by month, and if you're not satisfied, we can part ways at your convenience.
I did, we all got the report and, I did go over it, and so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I seen that the expenses being 850,000 and then 30,000 for expenses, and I assume that's for the Cadillac.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah, I apologize. I couldn't.
you said 600.
I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize, but yeah. Yeah, 30's mainly driven, I'll just be honest with you, it's mileage, for us to come back and forth. However, I do have some team members that live in the area, and if there's interest, I'm happy to shuffle the deck to, minimize that expense. We have a gentleman that lives approximately 40 minutes from here that can participate in this program if we need to.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I have some questions specifically as, I don't know if my page numbers are gonna be correct with what you had up there on the screen, but this was what was provided in our packet, so.
Okay.
So first of all, this isn't another question here, just bear with me, I just wanna read this out loud for, I think, for the public's benefit, more than ours, but this was your cover letter, Andy, that you sent with your report, and it indicates, and you write that with the understanding that Antrim County's intent was to use this report as a roadmap to help define the PSC's capital program plan. This assessment was intended to be at a high level, so it was not exhaustive. It does not analyze current space planning and design efforts being conducted by an architect since December to the present day. Just so we're all clear, I'll thank you for bearing with me on that. Just because I want to be sure, there's no criticism here, okay, this is just questions, we met with the county's architect once. Is that?
That is correct.
What I found most helpful in this report was, again, what I was very interested in, and Jairus has already alluded to it, but I'm on page 7 of what I was given. But again, it talks about medical and mental health service delivery areas, which would benefit from much greater square footage. And then it goes on to a couple other points, which I've highlighted. Because that is a concern of mine, that we're providing space for our partners in the community. I think all of us want that. So do you have a square footage number? Do you have something that says, hey, you know what, you guys, you've only got 10 square feet planned in this building, you better have 20? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think to the point made earlier by your colleague here, it's a function of what sort of diversion and other programs that you're going to include or exclude. And so I think that there's an opportunity to revisit that based on what's coming in or online versus what's not going to come online, if that makes sense. And it's certainly something that we would ask that we have an opportunity to discuss further with the county. For me to just blindly throw out a number, I think would be, and it would be probably unfair at this point, but certainly through the process of better understanding where how diversion may play an impact on this or not, that would be a driver in that discussion.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Bill.
I got a follow-up just on that.
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you talk about whether the players are gonna utilize diversion, alternative sentencing, third prosecution. We have a prosecutor now. He may not be here in 10 years, and the goal of this facility is to be 60, 70, 80 years. So I hear what you said, but I would like some sort of an answer as far as what could be or should be. If in 2 years our prosecutor and our sheriff and our judge all retire, and we get new ones, and they all want to go down this track, and we have a building that doesn't have the capacity to go down this track. So in a great scenario, you've seen what we have for square footage. What should it be?
So, to respond directly, love to ask for the opportunity that we could maybe take that back, and it would be appropriate if I provided you some information after we had some further iteration with our team. I don't wanna offer something that's inaccurate in this forum, but certainly something we can look at and provide you an update. Is that fair?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for like a percentage of square footage in terms of like what Macomb County is doing versus what Antrim County is doing, a lot of that is a function of what the demographics and what is Macomb County on versus what Antrim counties are. So it's hard to just do a base algorithmic extrapolation of, X times Y is see what you need here. It's really solely a function of what is your base, which is housing the inmates that you have in there. You're looking at alternative models. You've got a balloon here that is popping, and that stuff, more stuff into it. What are the opportunities for repurposing space that could be repurposed in the future should things change? That would not impact the incarceration operations of the facility. So it's a complicated question in that sense, that there are a lot of stakeholders and a lot of different operational elements on it. And looking at, what are specifically the needs of Antrim as well.
I also, again, I guess just thank you, Andy, for mentioning housing designations, post-incarceration preparation, just things like that for us for me, to constantly think about as we're moving forward. So. Like, any other questions or?
Pretty self-explanatory,
I have one more.
Sure.
After you've looked it over, what would you say are the 2 or 3 biggest areas that would require or might require a change order and would really impact the budget?
Well, again, we look at technology as being a critical element of this. And we work with a lot of different municipal clients. I work with many just designing public safety buildings with geo components in it. And we're not even through conceptual design. We have technology and security people on board there. There are architects that can do some of that in-house. And so that would probably, to me, if the county decides that this is a task that is best pursued with somebody on the private side, I would assume that you'll probably engage your architect first, see if they can handle that, and that would be a change order, a pretty significant change order right there.
I'll jump in, just a few other thoughts. The biggest, when you talk about like unforeseen conditions, I mean, I think I don't want to say it's obvious, but certainly the soil conditions, and you gotta get up out of the ground. So if you run into any unforeseens that are subsurface, that's why we talk about carrying one of the reasons we talk about carrying a healthy contingency. Even when you do borings and you do surveys, things come up. I'm working on I'll share with you, working on another project and with a different client, and there's a duck bank that's noted on the drawings that's, and duck banks are deep in the ground. And in this instance, they pulled up the pavement with their machinery, and duck bank was located directly under the pavement, hit it, and now we've got a rather significant issue. So I say all that to, unforeseens are unforeseens. So that's one of them that you certainly would want to be aware of, that I want to say, you know, you can only prevent so much when you can't see everything. The other major opportunity to mitigate is working with Avonmarsh to make sure that you engage a commissioning agent as part of this program. And when I, just to talk high level about that, commissioning agent would serve with the architect as they are going through and designing all of the building systems, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, technology, etc. And the commissioning agent's role is to make sure that at the conclusion of the construction process that all the building systems are operating as intended. So don't know how many folks here have been part of a program, but one of the big things that happens at the end of a project is I'm cold or I'm hot. And you find out that the HVAC system was not commissioned, or, you know, the startup was improper. The commissioning agent serves as a check and balance against what's been designed and ultimately what's activated and put in place. And essentially, it prevents you from having to do rework after the fact, and also creates an opportunity for greater experience by, you know, your in this case, your employees and residents or inmates.
I thank you very much, gentlemen. Jeremy, this report, their entire report is available online.
Yeah.
Okay,
Through our Public Safety Center website.
through the Public Safety Center website. If anyone interested in accessing that, feel free to do so.
It's a fantastic website, because a lot of the information that we use to formulate these findings are already there for anyone, whether you're a consultant or public defense. So again, appreciate that, you know, that little bit of a transparency, complicated project.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Claims and accounts.
I'd like to make a motion on claims and accounts to pay them at $200,187.01.
I'll second that. Any questions on the bills? Jerry?
Yeah, Grand Traverse County, December bill,
They're that far behind, yeah,
again,
that's district and circuit together, yeah.
aren't they? I mean, shouldn't we be getting January and February? We're in March.
Van Traverse County.
Right.
Number 12, Jeremy, what duration, for the jail food and canteen services, is it?
So, these numbers are always gonna fluctuate. It's not gonna tell you exactly how things look. You saw one that was over 10,000 a month ago or so. These are every month, so these are monthly bills, but that doesn't mean that the food is only for that month. They're building out their program multiple at a time. So these are direct food bills as well as meals going out. And like I said, at the time, we saw a massive influx because we also had a major influx in inmates at the time. And now, this month was particularly lower because we had so much from the previous, you know, like in anticipation, even though the population has gone down that much, because we had so much at the higher population, then that lowers the amount that we need this month.
Thank you. Anybody else? Who was moved second? All those in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? Moving on, prosecuting attorney's office, Advent Financial Subscription Agreement, looking for a motion to authorize the prosecuting attorney to sign a 2-year contract with Advent for online conversion services.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll support.
Thank you. Supported. I know Bill was here. He probably had to leave. We were running behind. That's my fault. But is there any questions?
Hold on a second. Yeah. Just so I'm clear, because it sounds like it says, this is page 20. Financial budget related information cost is, cost to us is up to, there is a $1,200 subscription fee, which is waived for the first year. That amount would be reduced some by small administrative fee that Advent, as a company, would collect when they sign up for the course. So that's, if these people that are in violation accept to go through this program, Jeremy, there'd be a cost for them to complete this online course, correct?
Correct.
You know, so fees
If we had no participation, it would be a full $1,200, which would be absurd to keep going with it if we were getting it, but this diversion program
Yes.
allows them to invest in that as opposed to doing, or prison time, they can opt to do this for that cost of them.
Okay. And then it sounds like to me too, is, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're only gonna do 3 at this point: victim impact panel, traffic safety, and defensive driving. Does that sound correct?
Yeah,
We'll start off with that, right?
that's what the prosecutor wants to start.
Okay, okay, no, thank you. That's
Great. On that same note, I mean, I know one of the big ones in our jail is alcohol and substance abuse and traffic safety and impaired driving. So, but I'm really thankful that he's trying it, and then maybe we can, if we have success, we can do with some of these other ones.
I would assume, I wish he was here to ask, that we'll probably go to those when we're under our own court system. Probably what we're gonna move to, those of these ones.
He has expressed a desire to expand this further if we see success.
Did I have a motion and a second?
Yep.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Paula is still in, it's not a problem. Agenda item Sacred Heart MOU, Elk Rapids Meal Site Agreement, looking for motion to authorize the COA director to execute the memorandum of understanding to use the Sacred Heart of Elk Rapids Parish Hall with the Commission on Aging Congregate Meal Site.
I'll make that motion.
Supported. Any questions for Paula? Come on up, Paula, please.
Yeah, so I'm looking on number 4 on financial, and it looks like before at this site, we helped them with repairing their dishwasher, stove, coffee pot, and moving forward, we're only gonna cover a quarter of that cost. I was just wondering-
The space that we were using, we almost had exclusive use of that space. But that space now is going to be part of the future rebuilding of the new church. And so we're going to be moving into a shared space in the at the church. And so because we're gonna be sharing it with other groups, they felt that we should still contribute, and we think we should too, because we're not supplying that equipment. But they felt that because we're sharing it with other church functions, that would be a fair allocation.
My only comment is, this is my home parish. When I first saw this, I thought, what is Sacred Heart trying to do? They've let us use it for free forever. And then it's Paul indicated, they're undertaking a building project over there. COA's got to move to what we might refer to as the new kitchen, as opposed to the old one, and I think that's what this is. So,
That's true, and the parish, I think, has been very gracious.
any other questions, Paul? It was moved second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Paul. Emergency management, with our motion authorize the chair to sign temporary land use agreement between Antrim County and the Michigan Army National Guard as proposed.
I'll make the move.
Thank you, no support. Thank you, moved, supported. Any questions from Jeremy?
Jeremy, just don't, this is a 1-day exercise, correct?
Yes.
Like the one last year. It's part of the 3-year.
Good. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Anybody opposed? Matthew's still with us from the airport. I'm looking for a motion to authorize the chair to sign a counter offer in the amount of $31,778.04 for the acquisition of an navigation easement over the property of Lynn and Joan Blanchard.
I'll make that motion. Support.
Who is supported? Questions for Matthew?
Yeah, so we offered them 30,000.
Yep.
And they said that they had to replant trees or something, so they feel like their easement is worth more. Is that what I'm reading?
That's correct.
I just wanted to make sure it's correct. But this is gonna be reimbursed primarily from the feds.
But right now, as it stands, as part of the AIP grant, so we'd be responsible for 5%. But there's a good chance, and I don't know for certain, but this may be forward funded 100% through the grant.
Yes, moving second, and all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Matthew still with us, is also the airport, looking for motion to approve a new airport zoning application fee of $75 and authorize the airport director to adjust the airport zoning application fee when applicable to cover associated costs.
I'll make that. I'll support it.
Thank you for the supported questions again from that, Jared.
Is this enough to cover the cost?
Most of the application that we also is pretty straightforward. They're going to a few that have it come in at the tail end of the project where they need an answer quickly, so kind of drop everything to take care of them the best we can. So
I mean, I'm just thinking if you need a legal question answered about a piece of property on an easement for the airport zoning. As soon as you ask an attorney.
oh, yeah, yep. Yep, but a lot of these projects, up until now, they've come in under our airport zoning. I mean, the elevations come in under our airport zoning. So it's just a quick review of our zone map to see, and a quick question down to our consultant, and I get clarification from them. It's pretty straightforward.
How many times has this met per year? Roughly.
I think last year was 7. Unfortunately, again, sometimes see projects come in, or applications come in right at the tail end of the project. So last year, I made a point to go to all the townships and drop off our zoning ordinance to everybody, so we could try to approach this at the beginning of a project rather than hurry up and get it done at the end of the project.
Yes, moving second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And last thing for Matthew today is looking for a motion to authorize the airport director to sign the proposal from National Aviation and Marine Underwriters in the amount of $10,866 for airport liability insurance.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, second, questions? Jared?
Yeah, under financial. I read this a couple times, but can you just clarify for me how much approximately this is gonna save us based on our current insurance?
Right now, our current premium that we paid for last year was $19,168. And in fear of it going up, it's been going up exponentially. So I budgeted 21,100 for this year, and frankly, just wanted to go out and see what else is out there and figure out our risk profile, is that match with what we're really paying, and be honest, we're overinsured.
And this is locked in for 3 years. Do I read that right?
That's correct.
Oh, it's right. Matthew, I want to thank you from the citizens of the county. I think you're doing a great job as our airport manager.
Appreciate that.
And the cost savings, to our citizens, I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to piggyback off that, not only that, just the transparency and how you communicate with the board. I really appreciate it.
Communication good. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Justin. It was moved in second, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Good job.
Let's see, moving on, I've got.
Policy.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, go on.
Bill doesn't have it.
Got it. Looking for a motion to approve proposed purchase policy as presented.
So moved. And I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions for Jeremy in regards to that?
Well, I have 69. Okay, so 69C, capital improvement plan, exemptions. Says, technology projects over $15,000 involving the purchase of new equipment are considered capital improvement only for the initial purchase. Once the equipment is scheduled for replacement, it will be treated like any other computer-related equipment and will be exempted from the CIP process. Annual fees over $15,000 will be considered CIP projects for the first year of purchase only. Examples are software licensing and subscriptions. Computer purchases are not CIP projects. I know correct me if I'm wrong, and there's like subscriptions for software licensing that kind of probably occur annually, correct? All I would just, ask is if it's the annual increase, if there's an increase that's just, I don't even have a number, but it's just like, it's out of the ordinary, like I'm just drawing out, like we were paying $1,000 a year annually and went up to $3,000 or $4,000. I would just ask that, our board president knows about this beforehand. Well, if something is.
Well, this is something that, that exact thing comes up during budget. It absolutely does, and it has year after year, and usually, we adapt. Vast majority of the time we adapt versus, just paying massively higher fees. But this is not a change of policy. This is already existing policy. This is just consolidating it with one document.
Okay.
Good. Chair.
Yeah, number 6, page 69, emergency purchases. If adequate funding is not available, the finance director, in concurrence with the administrator and board chair or vice chair, will make a budget amendment to cover the necessary purchase. My question is, Jeremy, we have an emergency purchase, you approve it. You call Bill and Bill says, no. And then you call me and I say, sure. I just feel like this is kind of gray.
Well, we put in lieu, it is not meant to be one or the other. It is meant in the absence of Bill, that the vice chair.
I think it should state that.
So we can clarify that in the absence of.
I can see some.
I'm not gonna, I understand not that that's ever happened, trying to play mom versus dad here.
Well, that's exactly my mind.
But,
If mom says no, I'm gonna go ask this.
that is not the case, and we can, if you would, since you're asking for that, if everybody's agreeable, we can make that a change.
That's fine. Okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of the same thing, disaster spending. The emergency services coordinator or dam operator is authorized to commit funds immediately during a natural or man-made disaster if there is an immediate threat to health and safety. They must contact the administrator and board chair as soon as possible after the incident. So if Leslie says we need $1 million and Matthew says we don't, which one is it?
That's not the situation we're talking about here. Those each would have their own areas of.
Oh, it's specific to their.
Right, it is not one against the other, and this is statutory, like the emergency manager, if emergency is happening. You can't stand in the way of dealing with that emergency.
Is that the way you understood it? That's not the way I read it.
It's the same, that's the same as it's been forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? It was moved to second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Yeah.
Okay. Accident injury report policy, looks for motion to amend the accident and injury report policy as presented.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Whistleblower and False Claims Act policy. Looking for a motion to approve the adoption of the Whistleblower and False Claims Act policy. Thank you.
Second.
Approved and seconded, questions? Cheers.
Do most other counties have this already and we're just a little slow, or?
Whistleblower policies are very common. The specifics of the
Page 75.
It's the False Claims Act. That was a specific part of a contract. with Commission on Aging that we needed to satisfy. But it's right in line with whistleblower, so it made sense to consolidate these. I believe Caspi County has them separate, but again, they're meant to be lined up with each other.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Yes.
Aye. Any opposed? County Administrator's Report, question for Jared.
Number two. Again, anything new?
Yeah, but not necessarily in a good way. So. We're back at the FAA. It was discovered as we advanced in the FCC process that some coordinates were given by the previous. Some coordinates were used off the initial concept, and this was 4 years ago. Those were never updated in the FAA according to where it was actually installed. It is not expected that this is going to cause an issue other than the delays that it already is. We've already submitted it back to the FAA. They have currently picked it up for review, which is good because that's a fairly fast turnaround for them. But as soon as they review and identify the GPS coordinates that we gave them, which must be within 20 feet of your permit, and we're in fact 150 feet away from where we were permitted for, so we had to update that permit. It's another situation where it's definitely would have been caught with the project manager if we've been doing this as we typically projects.
So when I go to Central Lake and they ask me, the answer is we still don't know when.
We still don't know when.
Number 13, on page 78, the ODA Title II. Looks like beginning April 26th of 2027, kind of have to gonna be in compliance, right, with the federal government.
Yep.
And this is something the feds are making counties do and not contributing to the cost of it, I would assume. Great.
Well, we have statute that the state can't do that to us, but there's no such statute for federal.
Libraries have to, anything government has to have that
Yeah, we
accessible website thing.
thankfully, as a smaller county, we don't have to do it this year because larger counties are having to do it this year. We are going to start that process over in the coming months. I'm sure your townships are looking at it because they're going to be in the same boat. It will push us to adapt a little bit. The biggest problem with our website generally is alternative text for pictures that actually describe it. So if somebody has vision impaired, they can click on it or touch it, and it will tell them what the picture represents. The other issue that we're trying to figure out is PDFs. Over the last couple of years, we've significantly increased the amount of communication we put out there to the public and to our local agencies that we use, because it's a very simple way to do it. We use PDFs to send those out. We will have to figure out a way to make those.
It sounds like a big undertaking.
Yes.
Cheers.
On that same thing, I think that's gonna be pretty difficult for some of our townships, especially some of our smaller ones. Is there anything that we can do as a county to help them, aid them, advise them?
I'm always happy to help our townships, and we do it on a regular basis in a number of fields. This is one where it's going to be very specific to your own. Most agencies are going with web developers to help them adapt. And in fact, we're using our website provider to adapt ours appropriately. I've already advised a few as far as what those requirements might look like and who they should reach out to. I will continue to offer advice as much as I can, but at the end of the day, their website's going to have to change, and we don't have the capacity to take on.
Jeremy, thank you for following up with Grand Traverse Industries. I'm thrilled to read in your report that their budgetary concerns are currently stable. So thank you for continuing to maybe follow up with them every 90 days, whatever, it's just to make sure that they're, and I know Jairus will, Jairus will keep us posted on that as well. One other question was, opioid funding, and Jason may be able to shed some light on this, as he's a representative on the collaborative. But addiction treatment services, we had granted funding to addiction treatment services. And then, ATS had a change, I mean, their service model changed, my understanding. Changed, and I didn't think they were really gonna be able to fulfill the request of us. So we had allocated them 45,000, sounds like 15,000 has been dispersed to them.
Yeah.
We still was, can you
Yeah.
elaborate on that, please?
30,000 was for vehicles and direct services that they, as you said, their model was changed and they were not able to approach that. The other 15,000 was for direct communication and changes to their website to make sure that people were getting connected to other services. That's the 15,000 that went out. They did present to Community Collaborative.
And I spoke to, as far as the services for the safety center, she's in contact with the Attorney General on how they should go about funding programs, etc. Well, I'm not talking about base, but I talked to her yesterday. Meeting's been a couple weeks, so.
Yeah, if I may, like this, to build off of that, that's exactly, something that was identified in Plant Rand's call out was, utilizing, those opioid funds for that. It's right in line with what we were already trying to do with our navigator. It's a little different. I mean, it's gonna be different than what Macomb County does. There's not enough opioid funding or any funding to have staff 24/7 to as people are intake. That doesn't mean we can't find a way to adapt that and make sure we get services yeah, as soon as possible, connected either while they're in or immediately after jail.
Thank you. Else on that, there is no elected officials left here today. I don't have anything to report. Just any thought?
Gotta go, I had a meeting.
Oh,
So.
see ya.
Yeah, big guys.
See ya. Sarah, any last comment?
Jason.
Allow for public comment.
Oh, yeah,
I'd like to make a comment before you leave.
Okay.
Because I do want to direct it partly at you.
We did,
Hold on, hold on.
I have an ending call here.
Hold on.
Hang on.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Terry.
Jason and I did.
Don't worry, I'm on board too.
All right, Terry, you too, thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Jason and I had a conversation, Tuesday in regards to the, having one of the jail release simulations again. And they are gonna start working on that. They need to get around 40 people. And I would suggest that if that materializes, that all the commissioners go to it. Because it is absolutely, and
All right,
it opens your eyes to what people actually have to do. And so it's coming, I
Okay.
hope.
all right, great, thanks. Anything left, Fred, Terrace? Okay. Public comment, sir.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right, it's all right, that's all right.
My name's Walt Wood. I'm an independent voter. And I take a nonpartisan approach to politics. And words matter. The word political and politics gets kicked around a lot. And I just want to say that politics is the most crucial subject to our existence. That is to say, the society in which we live, the economic relations within which it functions, and the system of power, which defines the regular forms and the regular permissions and prohibitions of our conduct. The essence of our life consists, after all, of the political functioning of the society in which we find ourselves. Everything you do here falls under the umbrella of politics. You govern the polity. Again, words are important, and I was hoping to tell Mr. Hellwig share with him that when he calls or accuses another member of your commission of being political, what he's really saying is, thank you, you're doing a good job. So again, words are important. Politics has become a dirty word. I'm a proponent of direct democracy. I'd like to see more people participate locally at the township and county level in their politics. But we can't be misusing words. What Mr. Hellwig really meant was, you're bringing partisan politics rather than a nonpartisan, common sense approach to the topic or problem we're trying to address. So I would urge you folks to just remember that words are important, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Name's Terry Moon. You guys know me very well now. I've been here 5 or 6 times. Ironic, we're talking about sewer fields today. And the prosecutor's not here. I have a sewer field on someone else's property. I have a life lease. I have cameras on it. I've had damage to that property several times from the owners. Pulling markers and survey stakes to show the location of that sewer field so it doesn't get damaged, so it doesn't pollute our rivers. The reason why my sewer field is on someone else's property, because I have a creek in my yard. So these things do matter to me, just like it does with Terry. When my property is being damaged, law enforcement should be able to do something about it. My contract says they can. Nothing's being done. So what am I supposed to do when mine start leaking? And you come after me and tell me to fix it when it wasn't my fault? These are the questions I have asked the prosecutors for the last 40 years now. And they've been sidestepping it, same with the sheriff's department. I also have an easement, 3 or 4 of them up there. I've been tried for trespassing. You can't be trespassing when you're on an easement. We need to work on these things. We're all citizens. I'm here to help the place. I'm not here to make problems. But problems find me all the time. So I emailed you guys or text you guys some stuff, so I expect you to get back with me after the meeting, because I don't want to bring it in the public, because I've been trying to keep that on the down low. But let's work on everything that we've been trying to. My sewer field's been jeopardized from people pulling surveys. It's in Central Lake Village. Tell the man that left here, he's so worried about someone else's, why ain't he worried about mine? He's got my contracts and a letter from the judge stating that my contracts are not unlawful. They are contracts. Have a good one.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great, then updated corporate comment, we are adjourned by the order of the chair. Thank you, everyone.